Report. Let's turn now, though, to an update on the southern suburbs residents refusing to let the rail electrification project spoil their sea views. As we've reported before, they've been lobbying the state government to move the infrastructure by around 150 metres to no avail. So as Paul Macon reports, they've stepped up their fight.
It's disgusting. It's ugly.
We accept the overhead cables have to be there. We do not accept that this structure has to be located here.
The residents have got a strong case.
They sold us a pup.
The last time we caught up with the residents of Hallett Cove, the gloves were off.
If governments can run roughshod over the ordinary people, that is appalling. That is not a government that I want to rule us.
These good folk claim they're being railroaded by the state government over a part of the $2.6 billion electrification of the Noarlunga line.
I think it's a travesty to be putting this up on a scenic street.
Absolutely. I mean, that's the whole point of the problem.
While the transport bigwigs and their brochures paint a picture of minimum environmental impact along this train line, the reality is every 1.6 kilometres they have to have one of these overhead wiring systems, known as an overlap.
And they're going to put one right here.
And here's roughly what it will look like. The view doesn't stand a chance.
No, the view's destroyed forever.
While some modifications may make it less unsightly, the Department of Planning, Transport and Infrastructure's Rod Hook reckons his boffins say it can't go anywhere else.
We've gone back to our designers who are experienced in designing 25,000 volt systems, and that's what we're doing here. We've said if it can be changed, change it. They've told us it can't.
But now it's engineers at 40 paces. Since our last story, these folks have been very busy, hiring their own independent engineers.
We felt it was pointless trying to argue with the government unless we had a basis in fact for what we were proposing.
Both engineers report that the location of the infrastructure does not have to be set in concrete.
The most suitable alternative location is likely to be 160 metres to the south of the existing overlap on land known as Lot 101, Christie Road, Lonsdale.
It's in a cutting, so the visual impact will be minimal.
The section of track is relatively straight and appears accessible for service vehicles and within the 1.6 kilometre range required for the overhead wire run as described by DPTI.
Well, there you go. What's the problem?
Don't know, because even the railway men are not getting the signals.
DPTI advises that it has exhausted its investigations and confirms that it will remain in its current position.
And local member and Transport Services Minister Chloe Fox makes three.
Our engineers, who are not looking at just one section of track, they're looking at 36 kilometres of track, advise us that that is not the case. I really should say one thing. We are not being bloody minded. We're not.
But that doesn't stack up with what 5 residents heard the government engineers say at a meeting called over the matter.
We went through the constraints that were put up by the department, and one by one the engineers were able to tell us they could each be overcome.
They actually said that?
They said that. We all heard them say that.
Government engineers and 2 independent engineers? A pretty good case for the locals, you'd think.
When you've got independent experts saying that there's a credible alternative, that needs to be taken seriously.
Also independent, Federal Senator Nick Xenophon has taken up the residents' plight.
This is going to be an incredible eyesore that will damage the value of residents' homes, but this will be an eyesore for everyone that goes past there.
He's calling on Transport Minister Tom Koutsantonis to intervene.
I'm just hoping that I can engage with him on this. I think that this is something that can be resolved for the benefit of the community and for the benefit of the environment.
It must be said that these people from the beginning have told us they were never consulted or informed about this particular rail infrastructure, something the government denied. But today, based on new information, Chloe Fox finally admitted the residents
did not receive letters, they did not receive flyers, they did not
Absolutely nothing. Very good.
That's right. And they didn't receive the invitations. Now, I found out this morning when I was talking to Rod Hook that the company that had been employed by the department to do the letterboxing and to do the door knocking of this particular area has actually been sacked. They will let go as a result.
Work began today on this rail equipment that will blight the area. But Nick Xenophon says work should come to a halt.
Let's have a short pause here. Let's take a deep breath and sort this out, because once those poles and wires and ugly infrastructure is up there, it'll be forever.
Chloe, look at that view. Can you imagine the view with all that infrastructure?
Yes, this is development.
Is it progress?
It is progress.
At any cost?
No, this is project. This is progress which has an enormous benefit for the greater community.
If there's a viable, credible, cost-effective alternative, let's go down that path rather than wrecking the neighbourhood.
And residents tell us the government's employed a security guard to stay at the site right around the clock while the work progresses. Paul Macon with that update.